So you might be wondering about why do you need to take this class and how would knowledge about enterprise systems help you in your career? Well, I can offer you three main good reasons for that. If you were to take a look at most of the modern day companies, you would find that most of these companies are using some form of enterprise system. So by learning about enterprise system, you can actually work better at your job. And because of this fact that most of the companies are actually using enterprise systems, major business schools have recognized this and incorporated a course on ERP systems in the MIS department. At the same time, regardless of what major you're coming from, a best way to learn about a company and its activities is to have a close examination of ERP systems, because the features of ERP systems tend to cut across different business departments and functions. So if you were to examine that, you would be able to learn about the activities that other departments and the entire company works. So with that, let me also give you some concrete examples of jobs that are directly related to the use and to the sales of ERP systems. So if we were to take a look at a company that sells and implements ERP systems, for instance, SAP, you find these positions, all right? At the very forefront of the sales side, we will have a sales associate whose main job is to engage with potential clients and companies that are in need of using enterprise system. So they need to know the features and the abilities of enterprise systems pretty well in order to make a pitch and to convince companies to buy them. At the same time, the sales associate works very closely with a pre-sales engineer who would actually design and to produce a demonstration of the features to the clients. After the sales has been made, the next step is to implement the system at the company. For that purpose, we would engage functional and technical consultants. The role of the functional consultant is to mainly talk to the end users at the company, learn about their day-to-day business roles, and to translate these user requirements into logical and technical views that dictates how the ERP system works. He has to work closely with a technical consultant who designs and to also make changes in the way how the system runs. Because ERP systems are huge, massive softwares that has various modules spanning across different business activities, it's quite likely that we would need to have a good overall view of how different modules work together. For that purpose, we need to engage a system architect who designs the overall blueprint for the system. He's the one to go to if we need to ask to see if certain changes could be made so that the overall system could run properly. Finally, we have at the top of a group, an implementation group, a project manager. A project manager is responsible for leading the entire implementation team. He or she has to be aware of the risks in terms of costs and also in terms of the duration of the project. That's the reason why his or her job is to mainly to secure resources, to design budgets, and to design the activities for the team. Because of the strategic role that the project manager does, he or she sometimes have to provide influence and also to persuade and adjust the expectation of the clients. And sometimes she would also have to do the same in terms of expectation management with the company that she's working at. So even if you're not working directly for a company that sells and makes ERP system, quite likely you would still be using enterprise systems if you're working for one of these big companies such as Walmart, Intel, Apple, HP. In fact, what we know today is that all of the Fortune 1000 companies out there use some form of ERP systems. So if you are working for a major company, there's a good chance that you'll be dealing and working on an ERP system on a day-to-day basis. So one of the best ways for students to see why this class is relevant to them is to see how this class can be used in actual jobs itself. This is the reason why I've designed an activity for all my students for this class, which is for students to go onto the internet to search for possible jobs that are related to ERP, and at the same time, note down the job title, the description of the job, and also certain characteristics that's related to the job. So allow me to take the next few minutes to illustrate how you can do this. And after this is done, you can go and take your time to search online for a job that is related to ERP, take notes about it, and then discuss what you have found with your classmates in this class. So what I did is to go online, and the first job that I found to be related to ERP appearing on my screen is one of the ERP administrator. So let me just take down these few things related to this little activity. So the job title and also the description. Basically, this is based on our search result, the very first one that came up for me that appeared relevant to ERP in the United States is an ERP administrator. All right. And the job scope of an ERP administrator includes, from what I found from the website, is to ensure reliable performance of ERPs. And that includes things like troubleshooting, resolving ERP-related hardware and software. There's also sort of a requirement here described as part of the job scope, which is to coordinate software releases, fixes, and upgrades to the ERP. All right. So another thing that you want to know, and this would be quite possibly of interest to you, is how well does the job pays? Right? What is the average annual salary that this job pays to you? And from what I found in this case here is that in the US, the role of a ERP admin pays $75,000 to about, in the range of $75,000 to $85,000. And then the next thing that I would also ask you to do in this activity is to name 2 companies or industries that offers this job. And what I found in this listing is that it's available in the biotech, healthcare industries, and also very widely in industries that are more familiar to us, retail and wholesale, and even in transportation. Right, so we can just put transportation here. And the next 2 things that I would ask you to do over here is to do a reflection. Sometimes this might be already given to you on the job search page. Sometimes it's not. What kind of skills, types of skills or personality trait? Right. needed for this job. And what I found on the website was that sometimes they list down the education level required. In this case, they were specifically seeking people with a bachelor degree. In business admin or in information information system, so IS for short. They were also hoping to get people who have 2 to 8 years of experience supporting ERPs. And then finally, the last part, this might not be always available to you, but you'll want to sort of think about the different roles that you need to do in this job and come out with some of the personality traits that you would need to have in order to do this job well. So in order to troubleshoot and help users with ERP-related software, hardware, releasing fixes, doing upgrades to ERP, quite likely you would need to have problem-solving skills, right? Problem-solving skills. You would also, because of the need to talk to people, to communicate with users on their needs, it's quite likely that a person doing the admin position would also need human skills and communication skills, right? And then the last thing that I would ask you to do in this activity is to answer this on your own based on what you see so far related to this job is, would you, right, be interested in this job? Big question here, and why not, right? So I will not put an answer over here. This is for you to figure out, for you to honestly think through this different sets of jobs to see if it's relevant to you. All right, so this would be an activity for you to do, and I will list this as a activity plus a discussion. So once you have come out with 2 different ERP-related jobs, note down the specifics of it, and then you could talk to your peers, your classmates about what you have found.